Jackie Waters, and I'm from the New Hampshire Judicial Branch, and I, along with my colleagues Kim Brackett and Elaine Lessels, are here to talk to you today and share our stories about mandatory self-represented litigant e-filing and how we made it work in New Hampshire. We're delighted to share with our story of how New Hampshire made intelligent self-represented litigant e-filing to deliver the solutions and the services to the citizens in New Hampshire. We're going to demonstrate 5 non-negotiable success factors for intelligent self-represented litigant e-filing, and we'll describe how we launched mandatory SRL e-filing and how we continue to build upon a very robust infrastructure to achieve our e-filing goals and objectives. And just in the interest of time, we have a lot of content to share with you this morning, so I've asked you to hold the questions to the end. We've allotted about 10 minutes at the end of the presentation to take your questions. So again, Jackie Waters, I'm the New Hampshire E-Court Program Director, and my role is to oversee the strategic planning and execution of our New Hampshire E-Court program. I support all the project teams that deliver technical business process solutions every day. I also oversee vendor management, budgeting, funding, and the governance of the program. I'd also like to introduce my colleague, Kim Brackett.
Good morning. My name is Kim Brackett. I work for the New Hampshire Circuit Court as a court service representative. I've worked for the New Hampshire Judicial Branch since 2005. I first started off at the courts interfacing with the public, helping them get their filings in, having their cases heard and adjudicated. And after that, I was in the central office for some time, training and statewide training and implementing policies. Since 2013, my main focus has been on the advancement of New Hampshire's e-court innovations. And I have helped deliver and build and deliver all of e-court solutions in the last 5 years.
And my name is Elaine Lessels, and I'm the e-filing center manager for the New Hampshire Circuit Court. And I've worked in the clerk's office for the Circuit Court for about almost 20 years. And for the last 5 years, I've been part of this team, and I've been managing the central e-filing office. So we're very excited to share all this information with you today, and it's been a part of a rewarding and challenging experience.
All right. Now, before we get started, I thought I'd just kind of get a sense of the experience here of the audience on e-filing. So among you, just by show of hands, how many offer e-filing for attorneys? Attorneys. So quite a bit, almost the entire room. Okay. Again, show of hands, how many for self-represented litigants? That's not a bad number at all. And for how many among you is it mandatory? Very good. Terrific. That's a little higher number than I was anticipating. So I'm eager to share our story and maybe hear some comments back from you at the end of our presentation on what you have found has worked and what you would do differently if you could. So with that, I think we'll continue on. I wanted to share with you, it's always good to start with a reality check, I think. And what I want to talk a little bit about is efficiency and self-represented litigant e-filing. There are both negative and positive factors that impact the efficiency of SRL e-filing. Since 2014, as my colleagues have mentioned, the New Hampshire Judicial Branch, we were a 2016 top 10 technology award winner in court solutions. And we have achieved business process efficiencies and filer benefits for small claims, guardianship, and estate cases. Today we will explain why New Hampshire decided to mandate e-filing for all filing parties and identify the advantages that we believe one mandatory e-filing system has, not just for the courts, but for filers as well. We hope today to shatter the myth that self-represented litigants cannot e-file. So the factors that have both a positive and negative impact on efficient self-represented litigant e-filing include a part paper-based and part electronic e-filing system is inherently inefficient. We believe that from the beginning, and that's why we decided to go fully electronic, mandatory, all parties. Also, negative impact on efficiency. Any efficiencies you gain by automating a system are lost if a filing has to be rejected. I call that automated rework. And then finally, a negative impact is, given the choice, many self-represented litigants and attorneys as well will continue to paper file if they've given the choice. It's just the path of least resistance. It's human nature. Some of the positive things that can drive efficiency in self-represented litigant e-filing, that if a self-represented litigant has given the proper support and tools, they can be very successful. We also believed from the beginning that intelligent guidance and system-generated forms would reduce rejections, and we will demonstrate examples of this using our system. We're going to show you in a state case scenario that you'll see how it, from paper, it was very laborious, error-prone, subject to a lot of rework, and how we automated that in an intelligent manner and made it very, very simple for filers. And finally, a positive impact on efficiency is mandatory self-represented litigant e-filing done right makes the process more transparent to the filer, reduces their anxiety, increases their success, and e-filer satisfaction. At the end of the presentation, I'll review with you a few metrics that bear this out, both quantitatively and qualitatively. So what you'll learn today, the 5 non-negotiable success factors required for effective mandatory self-represented litigant e-filing. We'll describe how we took those factors and transformed them into actual solutions in New Hampshire. As mentioned, I'll share with you some of our efficiency metrics, and of course we can't leave here without sharing lessons learned. Nobody wants to repeat someone else's mistakes if they can avoid it.
So I'm just going to go over the brief history of New Hampshire, how this all started. So it all started in 2011 when the Innovation Commission, who was made up of legislators, judges, court staff, business leaders, members of the public, they were asked by the Supreme Court to look at our court and challenge themselves to come up with more efficient and effective ways to serve our public. And from that commission came these recommendations here listed. The first recommendation was the Unified Circuit Court. So we had 3 separate courts, the Probate Division, Family Division, and the District Division, and we unified it into one court. The next recommendation, which was a large innovation, was the Information Center. We created an Information Center which took all of our calls in New Hampshire. That created the 70% of the calls were able to be answered by the Information Center. So out of our 33 court locations where staff who are processing the cases were answering those calls as well. So when we implemented the Information Center, that left those processors who were processing the cases on less time that was uninterrupted so that they could get the orders out in a more timely way. And the next major innovation that came out was in the one we're here to talk to you about today. And my computer just went black, so I'm just going to keep talking until it comes out. And the next major innovation, and the one we're here to talk to you about today, is the mandate of self-represented and attorney e-filing. So just give me one moment here when this comes back. You can never do a presentation on technology without it kind of giving you trouble. There we go.
Good job.
So then in 2012 came the planning and implementations of these recommendations. And in 2013, New Hampshire put out an RFP, and we selected 2 vendors. We have Tyler Technologies for our attorney filers, and for our self-represented litigant filers. I'm not sure why this is on the fritz, but I'm going to walk away from that. So for our self-represented filers, we have Intrasys Turbo Court for our, I know it's still black. Give me one moment. Here we go. And then moving on to our New Hampshire E-Court program today, is a brief history still. So in 2014, we went live with our first case types. It was our small claims case type. And then in 2015, we went live with our guardianship case type, which was essentially 3 case types. We have guardianship of a minor, and estate and guardianship of an adult, an incapacitated adult. And that was in 2 separate divisions, the probate division and the family division. And in 2017, we went live with our estate case types in our probate division. And the most